Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And with Endgame coming into its third weekend at #1, beating out Detective Pikachu, which I'm not going to lie, I am legitimately surprised at, goes to show you the absolute staying power of this film. These movies is a cultural event. It's a cultural phenomenon. And the Russo brothers are the most prolific people in that particular sphere. Everyone talks about Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige is a GOAT in my opinion. However, he picked the right people, and they should be talked about as being the right people for the job. So Joe Russo here is very much at the top of his game right now. And when asked about taking over another particular property, especially from that of like maybe, let's say, the DCEU, he had one answer in mind. And quite frankly, I agree with him. He says here that he'd be interested in directing a Batman movie. Now, the article shows off this thing here where he was asked by a fan what DC comic character he'd like to direct. And he says, as far as what I collected as a kid, I collected Batman. That was one of the DC characters I collected. So it would have to be Batman. Now, I know you're thinking, but aren't they doing Matt Reeves the Batman? And that's in pre-production-ish situation. And how exactly would Joe Russo handle it? Look, here's the thing. I don't know. But I am saying this, though. If Joe Russo wants to direct a Batman movie and he talked about it publicly, even if he was just answering a question, Walter Hamada at DC Films right now should be figuring out how to make that a reality. And I'm talking going as far as to push Matt Reeves' film back or cancel it altogether. If you want my honest opinion, as much as I want to see Matt Reeves the Batman, I wanted to see it with Ben Affleck. I wanted to see Ben Affleck direct the Batman, starring Ben Affleck as Batman. That's what I, as a fan, wanted. But that's not going to happen. Obviously, he's left the role. Obviously, the Batman is going to be a bit of a prequel, casting someone else in the role. But we don't know what's going on. There's been no movement on it. In fact, there's been more movement forward for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad than there's been on the Batman. So what the hell's going on? If everything's up in the air right now, it would probably be this film over at DC Films for the DCEU. So if I were Walter Hamada and the powers that be, since this hasn't gone and started filming yet, cut it. You may disagree with me on that, and that's fine. It's not to say that I don't want to see it, but if this is a perfect world scenario here, if this is a perfect way for DC to figure out how to cash in on some of that Marvel craze, to get some of that Marvel money, to kind of compete with Marvel, which is what they want to do, bring in the Russo brothers to direct the Batman movie. Bring in the Russo brothers to direct anything that they want to do. Oh, you want to do a Batman and Robin movie? We'll do it, man. What do you want to do? You want to do Justice League 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Pendejo? You can do Justice League Pendejo. We will allow it to happen. Hell, we'll shoot the 10th movie first. You can do the 10th Justice League, and then we're going to work backwards because screw it. At that point, screw it. The Russos will figure out a way to make it work. I would argue that this is probably DC's best shot. James Wan did a great job with Aquaman. We know Aquaman 2 is coming. Patty Jenkins did a great job with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984 is coming. But what after that? They're, yeah, sorry. You got the Harley Quinn movie. We'll see how Birds of Prey does. I don't know. There's been no talk of Shazam 2, which is a shame because that movie was fantastic. But bringing in trying to get someone like Joe Russo to come on in, because they have no future plans at Marvel, right? They got no future plans at Marvel. They've talked about maybe wanting to do a Fantastic Four movie, which is probably going to be like maybe what they'll do. We know they've also mentioned Secret Wars, which is probably what, in all reality, either Fantastic Four or Secret Wars is what will bring them back in, because Feige will just be like, well, hey, you guys want to come in and do this? And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But if he's looking for something else and he wants to elevate the profile of another major character, because right now when he's got the movies, that are grossing the highest amount of money ever, really, the biggest franchise in the world that they've helmed 4 of the movies 4 of the 22 films, 2 of which are in the $2 billion club. By all means, go and do DC. I think DC should be calling them right now, or working with their agents, getting them in for meetings, basically offering to give them whatever they want. Like, oh, do you like, who don't you like? We'll have them murdered. I kid, obviously. But no, it's like they should do that as a way to save the DCEU. Because if they're not going to follow Zack Snyder's plan, if they're not going to follow what Zack Snyder had set up, and they obviously don't know their head from their ass 9 times out of 10, it feels like, when it comes to the powers that be behind the scenes at DC Films and the greater DCEU, then by all means, go and bring in another Marvel team. Bring in the Russos, or just bring in Joe Russo. Yeah, leave Anthony at home. I don't know who does more in what regard, but they work well together. But bring in one of the Russo bros, and you will find yourself with $1 billion picture. Guaranteed. This I have to put on there is from the director of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame comes Joe Russo's Dun Dun the Batman, starring John Hamm, because it would have to be John Hamm, in my opinion. But that could be that. That could be that should be where things are at right now, in my opinion. If DC wants to save itself, it should be, if it wants to copy Marvel, which it clearly wants to copy Marvel still, then it should go and poach more of their directors. They got lucky with James Gunn, and they're going to lose him right away back to Disney. And if Joe Russo starts going like, hey, I'm sniffing around DC, well, I'm pretty sure, you know, Feige and Bob Iger will offer him literally whatever he wants. But, you know, I think he should. I think he should totally go over to DC. But what do you guys think about this one? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think that Russo should jump ship, or should he stick with Marvel? And if so, if he did go to DC, what would you like him to direct? I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out.